Hello and welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Riancho, and today is Friday, May 1st, full moon, 5 p.m. Time to lock in. It's SFLEX Friday, and they did drop another tournament that does have an F in it. Maybe it's Frenchie Friday. I am French after all. We'll see. We got a light goal for that Frenchie. If you want to make that happen, drop it below. But in the meantime, we'll be only in the SFLEX. Until then, let us begin. The plan was always to enter the field general for the sake of this live stream, but I did not see what they dropped earlier, and it's definitely speaking to me. Only 2 entries in this tournament. I like that a lot. Only 31 people in the final. I love that. And then the advance rates are fucking dope. 3 out of 12, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 6. What do you get if you make the final? I'm so interested. Only $100, but for a maximum $30, that's not bad. And then 10K to first. Yeah, I think we're gonna I think we're gonna draft a Frenchie today, most likely. But at the moment, let's stick to what you came for. And real quick, let me say hello to the chat. We got Pepper Tony, Fimpst, and First today. Looks like Best Ball demands a recount. Maybe he got in here first, but maybe the comment just didn't quite load in time. You got to be quicker than that. It's like that commercial for like Starburst or something. Maybe Skittles, where like there's a dude with a fishing lure. He's got the dollar. There's a person trying to. Hey, you got to be quicker than that. That's what that reminds me of. But Scott, good evening as always. Thank you for coming in. Keith is locked and loaded, at least mostly loaded, but at the very least you are locked, which is a good sign. I'm gonna enter this field general. If you want, looks like we got a little mini ad break. Let's skip that. Sorry, I don't like it when the ads come in the first 2 minutes. Anyway, get rid of that. We're gonna hop in to the field general in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 3 spots left. Yes, that was probably a Geico commercial. Probably not sponsored, but one of the classics, one of the best. All right, so one more spot. I really hope I get a good pick. I want a good pick. I think that's one of the best ways to establish dominance, not to be veered away. We get pick 9, not ideal. Maybe I get a really good value, but damn it, I'm also like really close to y'all. We got Super Beast right next to me at 10. Infamous at 11. I see Libra in at 6. Ladies first at 4. How we doing, Sandra? And then there were only 3 spots when I joined, so perhaps we are perhaps that's it. But super nice, bros. We got another username with the word nice. That's not good. Gotta split the positive vibes in half. We'll be okay. But shapes and colors at the 12. Don't think I've drafted with shapes and colors before. Maybe they're watching, maybe they're not. But best of luck to everyone. Good luck. We are all chasing. What's the prize in this one? I think it's 100K. Yeah, 100K to first in this tournament. 25th and better still wins 1,000. That's not bad. But here we go. All right, I hope y'all are doing well on this Friday. Got the weekend coming up, and I'm looking forward to next week. We're going to start having guests back on the channel next week, and looking forward to this off-season moving forward, getting more info. I can't wait for the schedule to drop. It's officially May. It'll be 2 more weeks, and we get the schedule, I believe. I think that's going to be dropped on like the 16th or something. Usually early in the 3rd week of May is when they drop it. But I don't really understand taking Bijan over Lamar in Superflex. Maybe there's a big drop-off. I know Huhames, I've heard him say once we get to pick 3, I'll take Bijan. But I don't know. The only time I took him was it pick 6? And when you consider like the potential of getting like Jamar Chase at pick 16, like I did yesterday, I'm not convinced if like you have to pivot so early. Like there's still going to be some good running backs there at pick 23, but Bijan is one of the best. I guess so, but if I have pick 2, I'm not taking Bijan over Lamar. I'm not convinced I'm taking Bijan until like at least pick 4, pick 5. I am back on the clock. ADP says Jamar, but I think I'm going to ignore that. And I think I'm just going to trust my gut. I like Caleb here. I'm not afraid of taking Caleb. I think we took him yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. I'll go Herbert instead. I view them in a very similar tier. And what are we off the board right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. QB7 off the board. Could it be Caleb? Maybe. Could it be Justin Herbert? Maybe. Could it be Trevor Lawrence? At least Super Beast likes Lawrence over Caleb. But Acevedo, infamous on the clock, also goes Dak Prescott over Caleb. That's notable. I mean, Caleb does run the ball. Don't forget about that. At least Herbert runs. Dak does not really run anymore. Dak used to offer you like 5, 6 rushing touchdowns every season. And then after the leg injuries, just doesn't do it as much. Only when he really needs to. But Caleb goes to pick 12. That's a good price on Caleb. And this is why I'm like, do you really want to be one of the only teams in the first round that don't go quarterback and then also have one of the last remaining picks of round 2 to get your guy? Maybe it'll work out for Dennis at the pick 2, but a tough spot to be in. What's up, Garage? How we doing, my man? Super flexing on y'all. Trying to, at least. That's the attempt. I feel pretty confident in our ability to take down this tournament, though. At least make the final, I think, is very reasonable to project. I mean, he's on the thumbnail. Do I just take him? Maybe I save him for later. It's very tempting, but in all honesty, I'm gonna go with my typical plan. Round 2, I don't usually go quarterback. I want it in round 1, but what we're looking at here in regards to the drop-off versus who we'll get in the next round at both positions, Jackson Dart versus, let's see, Kyler Murray, I'm not sure is as valuable as Jonathan Taylor versus like Jeremiah Love, Chase Brown. I think that's a big enough discrepancy in value where I'm willing to pivot. But I will say having the anchor receiver is also very valuable in these tournaments. You only have to start 2 minimum wide receivers, but you can also start as many as 4. And if you are going to go with only starting 2, then give me one that's truly elite. You know, give me one that's a top 5, top 10 play at the very least. I want an anchor at that position typically. And it's a little harder to replicate at wide receiver as you move through the board. There's also going to be tremendous values at receiver later, so managing the risk reward between that, I think, is an interesting conversation. Yesterday, you saw me take Chase at pick 16. He goes at 13 there. I'll go Taylor today and load up on running back. You can start as many as 4 running backs in Superflex, but you can also start as few as 2. But if you get 4 starting top 20 running backs in your lineup, you're going to be in much better shape than starting 4 top 20 receivers typically. It's not that receivers can't pop, but generally speaking, you'll have more reliable touchdown production out of the running back position. So that team with Bijan goes Brock Purdy as their QB1. The team with Gibbs passed for James Cook. So Jeff 009, so far the riskiest build. But at least the team with Bijan double-tapped quarterback. At least there's that. But a sizable drop-off between Lamar versus Bo Nix and then Genty versus Bijan. You know, there's a world where Genti is a better pick than Bijan. Probably not going to happen, but I don't know if it's as vast of a gap as like Lamar versus Purdy and Bo Nix. But strategy in this contest, always an interesting discussion. It's hard to say definitively what is the best, but I know what I like, and I will assure you I feel most comfortable. Let's see. We do have 6 picks behind us. The odds that we get a quarterback. I want a quarterback with one of these 2 picks. I'm willing to push it because I get the stack. But if I'm not this close to this side of the board, I usually don't risk it. I usually go quarterback in round 3, but I will promise you this. I'm locking it in at pick 40. So some of y'all are watching around this turn, might have risked it, but I'm willing to push to see what happens, but I might really regret it. We see Goff, Henry, Baker, and then Jeremiah Love. Chase Brown's still on the board. That's a pretty good pick. But the cliff is definitely coming at running back. Infamous goes Pickens. Gets the double stack in Dallas. So I guess he had a plan. That's why he passed on Caleb. But sweet. I would say it did work out for me. I will say this. I think getting Jordan Love or Tyler Shuck is a tremendous bailout where they're not drastically different from Jared Goff. Which one is the better one? I'm kind of tempted to believe it's Shuck, but there's some really good stacking options. I'll stick with ADP. I'll go Jordan Love, but I'm not totally convinced that Tyler Shuck is less valuable than Jordan Love. But I think I got a little bailed out. I could have gotten totally boxed out. If Love and Shuck had been taken, I would have been pretty pissed. But so far, the team is really strong at running back. We have 2 quarterbacks before it really gets slim. And wow, the team with Gibbs, I think, just got bailed out a little bit by getting Shuck. Like, Shuck versus the Malik Willis tier. Yikes. So I think Jeff got lucky. And in my opinion, there's still like probably too many receivers coming off the board up until this point. Like, that's my take on it. I think there should be just like a sea of purple and green in like the 3rd and 4th round. But every draft is different. I'm not gonna just lock myself into. You got to read the board and like just take what comes, because these ones are just so unpredictable sometimes. Anyways, do y'all want the music? I'm itching to kind of put the music back on, but yesterday we had a bit of a, I wouldn't say controversy, just discussion about whether the audience is pro background music or not. But I can imagine if the song is just looped over and over, it gets a little tiring. But in general, I feel like it adds to the experience. I haven't put it on yet today. We'll see. Keith says bring it. Sure. Why not? Olave goes. I would have liked Olave. Do I trust Devontae Smith this much? I'm not totally sure it's that much different than the remaining options. So, yeah, I'll stick with it. I'll go Kyron. We'll get another LA running back. There's a world where it's too crowded in LA to really work, but typically I trust Kyron. His contract is where, like, I still buy in and trust him. But Stroud, Cam Ward, Malik, Darnold, and Daniel Jones come off the board in this round. Devontae goes to Infamous. And I'm genuinely tempted to just stick with running back here. T. Higgins goes. Starting to get bad, but Loveland is pretty valuable. But like I said, you can still start four running backs. I'm gonna do it. One of my first 6 players is giving me a 0 technically every week. Like, I can only start 5 among these players I've drafted. 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, or 4 running backs and 1 quarterback. But that's just an advantage I want to have. Acevedo says, I'm dead at quarterback. Better luck next time. I mean, that's the risk you take of not grabbing a quarterback at the 3-4 turn. And while maybe Bryce Young isn't like the saving option, you need to be gifted, you know, like an Aaron Rodgers at pick 83 at this point. That is the dilemma of pushing the position. But Hartman, what's up, man? How you doing? Hope your weekend is starting off strong. Kyron's still going 50-50 with Corum this season. I don't know about 50-50, but the thing about Corum's role on the goal line is just, it's a little too consistent for me to feel locked in that Kyron is like a guaranteed good pick. He's been fantastic. What am I looking for? Here we go. Blake Corum last year, starting in week 13, he had 1 rushing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, another rushing touchdowns, his 6th rushing touchdown in the span of 4 weeks. That stretch is why we draft Blake Corum so high, and like, it is genuinely concerning. Weeks 13 through 16. But in order to be fair, I think we need to look at Kyron's role in that span as well. How many picks do I have? Oh, I'm about to be on the clock, so not the time. Ooh, this is not bad. I mean, I'm gonna be nice, but honestly, I kind of want to bury you in I kind of want to bury you a little, but I'm not gonna do it. I'll leave him there for you. We'll see if Super Beast complies. But I'll leave. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I'm feeling generous because the value on JMO there, I think was pretty dope. But I almost took him from you. Came very close to grabbing Aaron Rodgers, who I think is one of the super valuable picks in this range. Late round 7, Aaron Rodgers compared to, you know, Stroud, top of the 5th. Take the discount. And now here, the thing about... damn it! Why you snipe me on Christian Watson, bro? That was rude. I mean, DJ Moore's still available. I think DJ Moore is a much better pick. But for the sake of my stack, Christian Watson was definitely on my mind. I'll go DJ Moore, though. But Watson paired with Jordan Love would have been nice. It's not that I'm dying to draft receiver, but I'm also not going to completely ignore it for too long. I'll go JMO and DJ Moore. A little more reliant on my running back position. But before we hit the massive cliff, I think I want 2 in this range. Like, JMO and DJ Moore, I think, are very valid 4th-round picks typically. And here we are in this format getting them at the 7-8 turn. Good value. More, like, appropriate for, like, what the format is. But, like, to be pretty comfortable and kind of done at running back right now, at least for a while, is a nice luxury. Okay, back to Kyren Williams. Weeks 13 through 16. They did coexist. I'll give Kyren this. They did coexist pretty well. But the average stat line for Kyren here was 16 rushes for 76 yards. That's 4.8 yards per carry. That's what he averaged on the season. So nothing amazing, nothing bad. 2.5 targets, 1.5 catch, another 9.5 yards. So a total of like 85. 4 rushing touchdowns in this span, so a touchdown every week. This equates to 8.5 plus 6, 14.5. About 15.2, 15.3 points. 15.2. Let's call it 15.2. Meanwhile, Blake Corum was averaging 16 points just off of rushing yards and touchdowns, getting much less work on the ground. He was basically neck and neck in that 4-week stretch. The two of them were very, very close together. I think I'll take Brian Thomas here. Pretty good fall on Brian Thomas. And, like, the sooner I load up on, like, valuable receivers, then the sooner I can just move off the position. I think if I build it out with, like, consistently addressing the wide receiver spot with the starters that are still on the board, then I can just stop at 6 and not even have to worry about some of the backups later on. I think with the way the league is moving, some of those later round receivers are really, really not valuable at all. There's the elite guys that get paid a lot. And then, especially in this format, I don't really want to be toiling with the lesser valuable names.
Nice.
Very tempting to go with Kenny Gainwell here, I'll be honest. I'm a little shocked that Tucker Kraft is off the board. That kind of sucks. Fannin is still available, but not really giving a shit about the discount. I'll just address the position that I think is weakest with, I think, the best value remaining. I'll go Kenneth Gainwell. A little above ADP, but I got to wait around the long turn. Almost 20 picks before my next one. 18 more picks. So Kenny G is not making it back. But the caliber of receiver that'll be left, not going to be that much different than Cortland Sutton, if I had to guess. And had Kraft been available, I would have taken him, but we go BTJ instead. What was it? What did I get on BTJ? 12 pick discount on BTJ. Not bad. All right. Best Ball Cabal says a good game for Corum was 20 snaps. Kyren was going 40 to 60 snaps. That is fair. Maybe I should also look at the snap percentage in these games. On offense, Kyron was averaging 61% of the snaps. That's 44 per game. Meanwhile, Blake Corum was averaging 25 snaps per game, only 35%. And meanwhile, Blake Corum scored more touchdowns in this span than Kyron Williams. So what if the snap share is closer to 50-50? You know, that's, I think, the big blaring concern remaining, that we just don't quite know what's going to happen. Because last year, people wrote off Blake Corum. You know, his rookie year was so terrible. People wrote him off. But then they drafted Jarquez Hunter. Hunter's still there. Kyron, how long will he maintain that dominance in the snap percentage? Probably it's definitely in his favor. Right there, we were looking at a 65-35 split. But what if it's more like 55-45? You know, like maybe Kyron is just not going to be on the field as much as we think. Maybe, just maybe. But I do just trust the Rams offense ultimately, and that's why I'm not going to panic. But sure, I think I'll go Kirk Cousins here, but I could get the stack with Gadsden. That's pretty valuable. And if I'm going to take a backup quarterback, I might as well take one that'll probably be there at the end of the season, at the beginning of the season. Cousins is okay, but I think I can move forward with just Herbert and Love for now and just try and get even better values with backups. I do like Cousins a lot, but I think he pairs a little bit better with someone like Daniel Jones, someone we're kind of worried about in the beginning of the year. Super Beast goes Jonathan Brooks. And who's to say about Kirk Cousins? Maybe Infamous is really excited to get Kirk Cousins here. But how much do you trust that he'll keep Mendoza off the field for more than like 4 weeks? You know, like ultimately there's a ceiling with Kirk Cousins. Looks like Cousins might circle back, but I can also get Quentin Johnston here, perhaps. That'd be kind of cool. QJ goes. The snipe on QJ. Just a little sad about it. But loading up on quarterbacks is never really a bad thing. And we are getting a full round fall on Cousins. Fuck it. We'll go Cousins. I can take him. I can leave him. But without the stacking partner, he's less easy to pass on. So I would have taken Quentin Johnston had he been there, but at least I got Gadsden paired with Herbert. And this is definitely a team I'm taking 4 quarterbacks, so at least one that I know is competent, one of the more talented options remaining. We'll go with that. There's a hard path to like prove that any of the remaining quarterbacks will even be on the field. Only injury can really keep them in the mix. Cousins at least has a shot to be on the field without injury, but he's very live to lose the job quickly. He's not an amazing pick. But at least my running back room feels tremendous. Taylor, Hampton, Kyron, Travion, and Gainwell. I waited on receiver, but getting the value I did, I think it was worth it. JMO, DJ Moore, and Brian Thomas Jr. as my starting 3. High upside. A little risky in terms of floor. Like, some weeks, the Bills just don't offer you the safety net. Some weeks, JMO just disappears. And then sometimes Brian Thomas is just not having a good connection with Trevor Lawrence that day. But when they all hit, they can all drop 30. And House Call is alive for all of them. Good offenses to bet on, so I'm happy with the 3. We're about to be on the clock again. Y'all know how I feel about Dallas Goedert. He is here. I think Goddard is extremely valuable. So I will take him. You can also start as many as 3 tight ends in a given week, given the flex and super flex spots available. So loading up on like 4 tight ends is not a bad strategy in this. I don't think it's bad, especially when you have like dominant ones that can drop over 20 points without shocking you. Like, if anything, while maybe they're not the most consistent options, Gadsden and Goddard, you know for a fact there's going to be a few games where like you need them in your lineup. They're dropping like 20, 25 points. You just know that's going to happen at some point. It's not something to expect every week, but at the right time, they can really deliver. And hopefully that right time is when it matters most, when you make all the money. This is kind of a sweet spot at tight end, so I'm kind of inclined to get another one, in all honesty. Like, I think the drop-off after Juwan and Hunter Henry is kind of massive, but if there's one guy I'm less worried about some of the additions in his offense, I think it's Hunter Henry. I will take Hunter Henry, because now it gives me the luxury of just stopping at 3 quarterbacks, but I mean tight ends. But then if I still want to take a 4th, it's not the end of the world. Juwan Johnson, a little bit more of a floor play typically. It's not that he can't spike, but he's a bit more of a yardage guy than like a touchdown guy historically. He'll get good volume, but Hunter Henry can score like 9 touchdowns in a season, give you multiple games with double touchdowns. I think Hunter Henry has slightly higher spike week production, and then I also think the yardage is going to be pretty comparable by the end of the year. Plus, even if the Patriots bring in A.J. Brown, I'm not worried about Hunter Henry. The addition of Jordan Tyson makes me a little bit worried about Juwan Johnson. Not tremendously, but just a little bit. Am I mistaken, or did they also bring in Oscar Delp? Where did Delp get drafted? Yeah, he also got drafted by the Saints. Delp is also fairly legit. 6'5", 245. Runs a 4.54. And then not like insane production in college, but if you go to Georgia, it's probably a good sign you know how to play the position. I tend to trust NFL athletes that are drafted out of Georgia. Typically, I got a soft spot for those types of guys. Acevedo says Carson Beck starting quarterback end of year. I pray. I would assume so. I would say by the time we hit the money weeks, he's probably more in line to be the starter than Jacoby Brissett. I could also see Gardner Minshew in there, but odds are you do get Carson Beck. Odds are, though, you're getting a team that is in line for the number 1 overall pick. And, like, at that point, what are you really betting on? They do have some weapons, though, so I get it. But I'm still a little uninspired. We're going to go Tank Bigsby. Lock up my 6th running back, one of my favorites. You know he's my boy. I'm rocking the 3-6-3-3 so far in this, and it feels solid. The running back market about to fall off a dramatic cliff, and we were already at like the bottom of the barrel. So if I'm feeling it, I can just stop drafting that position moving forward, and I'll be in good shape. But this is where I'm taking Bigsby in a regular draft, let alone a super flex. Freiermuth off the board. I will take Debo. I think Debo is the most reliable target earner remaining, and then he also has dual threat ability. He can take over a game. Debo has that skill set. He can truly take over a game. So I'm also a little hopeful that he signs in LA with the Chargers. The Mike McDaniel connection is why I'm willing to be optimistic about it. And perhaps I should have just done Trey Harris for the stack, but I don't think it's the end of the world. And at the moment, I still believe Deebo Samuel is poised to contribute a little bit more this year than Trey Harris. It's very close. I would say Trey Harris maybe has more upside, but Deebo has a higher floor. And then given the potential stacking partner, I'm willing to do that today. But Trey Harris goes 2 picks later. Definitely in the running for where I was going to go. But I think I played that turn well. I grabbed Tank Bigsby. The teams behind me, only one of them took a receiver. So I got the guy of my preference who probably wouldn't make it back. And then I still got a guy I really felt confident with in Debo around that turn. I felt like I had more options at receiver than running back that I would have liked to risk them coming back. So even though I pulled up Bigsby, I was very happy to do that. I am packing a bowl. If you're interested in joining me, I hope you have something prepared, but we'll take a little smoke break and then consider our options on the other side. But let me know if you're enjoying the music. I feel like this song is a pretty tough one not to like. I think this song is my favorite for the sake of background music. All right, I have 4 rounds left. Still not even really close to finishing this one. But Fields off the board. I'll go Tyreek Hill. The upside is so worth it. I'll take Tyreek Hill at 201. Definitely a lot of risk, but so much upside in a given week. If he can go off, it's worth it. And I'm starting to believe that he's the most likely candidate to be joining the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that's the most likely outcome for him. A bit of a headache, definitely some injury concerns. It'll be more comfortable for him. He knows the system, he knows the area, and I think it'll have the biggest uplifting vibe for the sake of his life and for the sake of the team he's joining. I think any other team, while there's a lot of hype around him, I think it can be much more of a headache, and he has a little too much unchecked power perhaps. Or he feels like he's scrutinized so much by the coaching staff and stuff, he's just not as comfortable. Whereas I think with Andy Reid and the Chiefs, a reunion there's mutual respect on both sides. I think ultimately he would be doing himself the biggest favor by going there. But Mac Jones is pretty valuable. Not gonna lie about that. That's pretty tempting. But my receiver room is starting to thin out. The tight end market is a little gross. I will just take Mac Jones. I wanted a 4th quarterback, a pretty talented backup, and Brock Purdy is a very risky bet to play all 17 games. Brock Purdy is usually missing some time. We've seen that Mac Jones can deliver in the biggest moments, and I trust that the offense will keep humming when he steps in. It's not going to be a big fall off. Mac Jones is right now this season the most valuable backup in the NFL. Integral part of the Niners' success last year, going forward this season, and I think he will make himself a big contract next year, but it's not out of the question that we get to week 12 and Mac Jones has the rest of the year as the man. Don't think that's impossible at all. Purdy consistently gets hurt. That's the only problem with Purdy that you can like really pinpoint and like complain about. I feel like Purdy gets a little too much hate. Maybe even I have been susceptible to this, to just having a pessimistic view of Brock Purdy. He's super talented. He really delivers. He has a way more 300-yard passing games than you would think. But he does get injured a little more easily than you would like. And then if you're in like bad weather, Purdy sometimes doesn't quite deliver. But his chance of coming off the field, Mac Jones has a pretty high chance of stepping on the field. And maybe he gives me 5 games like last year, and it's just not at the valuable time. Maybe he just helps me advance, and he's worthless to me in the playoffs. That's definitely possible. Definitely likely to happen with Kirk Cousins. But if we do get the San Francisco starting quarterback in the playoffs, and it happens to be Mac Jones, we're in good shape. He is a name that gets drafted in like every lobby, though. So it's not like you're going to be the only team with Mac Jones late. But definitely has some value. And maybe I go Jake Tonjes, but I don't think so. I really like Ted Hurst. We could also go Brandon Thompson. That's definitely an option. You know what? Fuck it. I'll go Brandon Thompson. Who am I to not hype up the Chargers young rookie that runs a 4.2? Let's do it. We got the stack. Let's do it. But is it incorrect? Probably. Closing my ears as a Niner fan. I don't like to hear the truth. It's sad. You know what is a tough pill to swallow as a Charger fan? It is possible that Justin Herbert is holding them back. It is possible. Like I'm willing to say the harsh reality that we don't, a truth serum take from a Charger fan. Perhaps Herbert is holding them back. I'm not saying definitively, but perhaps. When it comes to the Niners, Brock Purdy is much more fragile than a typical franchise quarterback you would like them to be. I'm not really sure where to go here. I'm not quite sure. Fuck it. I'm going to take a 5th quarterback. Let's go Anthony Richardson. The only other guy remaining that can just like drop 35, be the QB1 on a week. Maybe Joe Flacco throws it like 60 times in a game, and he somehow makes it to like 450 yards and 5 touchdowns. Maybe, just maybe Jameis Winston tacks on another like 80 rushing yards or something, against Detroit. But like in general, there's so few players that can actually like crack a 30-point week remaining and really deliver. And from an athletic standpoint, the only guy left at quarterback that can even come close, I would argue, is Jalen Milroe. So Jalen Milroe maybe has a clearer path to playing time than Richardson does, but at some point Richardson does probably get traded. He also might be the starter week 1 in Indianapolis. That's also possible. Slim chance, but it is possible. I might have gone overboard at quarterback, but having passed on Rodgers there, not getting a 3rd that I like, even though we took Cousins around past ADP, doesn't feel great. Mac Jones is talented, but nothing is guaranteed. Having a 5th in the back pocket, like Richardson, I think ultimately has a little bit more upside and value to my roster than most other positions. I'm kind of locking myself into the theory that this team is only starting 2 wide receivers, and most weeks it's just someone, but it's just 2 of these 3. These 3 are the ones I'm really betting on, betting that the market was wrong, and they're going to carry me. But I do love the value of Debo and Tyreek Hill, both free agents this late. Truly high upside, low floor, a lot of injury risk, but they're worth it. And then maybe Brandon Thompson does break out with the Chargers. But Brandon Thompson feels like a wasted pick, just a little bit. Quarterback, though, Herbert, Jordan Love, those are the ones carrying me. We're trying to get lucky with Cousins, Mac Jones, and Richardson. But then running back is really going to deliver on a week in, week out basis. I trust at least 3 of these every week to come through. We got Taylor, way too much volume to fade. Omarion Hampton with Herbert, really nice stack, and should have a chance to be a top 5 running back given the volume I expect him to get. I still believe in Hampton. Kyron, though, we mentioned in maybe more of a committee with Blake Corum than we'd like to admit. His price should be good, but it also might suck. He has the chance to be like a top 3 play any given week, though. So from that standpoint alone, give me the Rams running back with confidence. Travion in a split backfield as well with Ramondre, but dropped some 30-pointers last year. Not many guys can do that. He has amazing speed, way too talented. One of my favorites in this range. But also took Kenny Gainwell from a value standpoint, one of the last that I really trust to get a lot of touches and touchdowns. I like Gainwell a lot in the 10th round here. And then I did take my favorite handcuff of them all, true handcuff. I would say Brian Robinson has enough standalone value. I don't view him as a true handcuff, but Bigsby, a true handcuff that would be a top 10 play if Saquon ever goes down. So running back room is great. My tight end room I think is great. Gadsden, Goddard, and Hunter Henry. Yeah, I'm happy. It's just a question of, will these 3 receivers cover my ass enough? I think so. I think I can get away with it. I have no regrets on this team. I really don't. Almost regret the Hampton pick. I think it worked out. We got Love and still had Shuck to compensate. But had Infamous grabbed a quarterback there and then either Super Beast or Shapes and Colors boxed me out, I would have been sad. I would have been pretty sad had I not gotten Jordan Love or Tyler Shuck. But it worked out. I'm happy to have who I got, and then we spotlit some good backups later on. All right, let's take a look at ladies first real quick. Goes Daniels, Dart, Neighbors, Jacobs, Javante, Mendoza. Pretty solid at quarterback. Swift, Carnell Tate, Jalen Warren. So got in running back fast enough, has Carnell Tate as well, so that's pretty solid. Wide receiver 3 is Golden, 4 is Coker. Stopped at 6 with interesting rookies. But then the tight end 1 is Pitts, has Schultz. Stopped at 2 tight ends. Interesting. 8 running backs on this one. Coleman, Algier, Keon Black, and Adam Randall. Worth the swings. Also took a Will Howard late. Will Howard feels a little worthless, if you ask me. I think I'd rather have Drew Aller than Will Howard, personally. But really strong up top. Good team, nice correlation. Didn't overcommit at wide receiver. Ladies first, I like the team. I think it looks pretty good. We also had Libra in here with Burrow, Amon-Ra, Achan, London, Nico, Loveland. Okay, has Shador as the QB2, McCarthy and Flacco. Yikes. That's pretty gross. The only saving grace is the commitment to handcuff Burrow. I like the Bengals handcuff here. I think you needed it. Damn, that's a little tricky, but Burrow can save you. Flacco's all right, but Shador and McCarthy, yikes. Loveland and Warren, running back. I think you had too many receivers here. I think instead of Drake London, you should have took Tyler Shuck. Or at the very least, instead of Nico, grabbed another quarterback. I think you passed on quarterback too many times after settling in with Burrow. That's my take. Super Beast behind me has T-Law, Goff, Daniel Jones, and stopped right there. Running backs, Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Chuba Hubbard, Brooks, Mike Washington, Najee. So the depth is not that good, but you have both Panthers. I hope Trevor Etienne doesn't kill you. And then receiver with Puka, Watson, Parker, QJ Jawan, Booty, Flournoy, Skylar Bell. Pretty solid, pretty decent. I think a balanced approach with receiver for a while, and then getting the 3 late options, not bad. But one of those could be a running back, and I think it would help you. I think a 3-7-7-3 would have been nice here. And then tight end Laporta, Strange, and Frymuth. Tight end's pretty good. Infamous has Dak, Rodgers, and Carson Beck. So I'm glad Rodgers was a savior for you, but not everyone's going to be generous. That's the thing. You got a little lucky, I think, with the Rodgers fall. Running backs, Henry, Blake Corum, Mason, Singleton, and Vidal. I don't like the running back room, bro. A little too thin for a Superflex league. And then Lamb, Pickens, Devontae, T. Higgins, Waddle. Yeah, a little overcommitment at receiver. I think Devontae and T. Higgins could have been different. Make them running backs, or make it one running back, one quarterback here, and I think you're in business. But yeah, little too spend happy at receiver for my taste in a lobby like this. But it can still work. You can also start 4 receivers every week. That can also be the combo you need. But RB2 Blake Corum, that scares me. All right, we're gonna do one more, and then I think regardless of the poll, I might just do a Frenchie anyways because I want to, and I want to do it on the stream. So I'll do one more field general. Gonna hop in 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And then while we wait, let's get back to the chat. I did see it, my man, just waiting for a little break in the tempo. Terry, Adams, Evans in full PPR this year, then rank from 2-3 years from now. This season, I'll go Terry, Evans, Adams. And then long term, I think it's the same. Terry, Evans, Adams. But yeah, the cat is here. She's just out of frame. Let me see. Hello. Hello. Whoops. I think I'm gonna feed the cat. I think that's what she's requesting, actually. We'll make it right after this pick, and yeah, okay, we get pick 3. So here's the big debate. Am I taking Bijan here? That's the big debate. What do I do at pick 3? Also, first off, I'm gonna go Gibbs over Bijan if that's the case. But Travioli's on the clock. I think Travioli might be watching. Not sure. But I recognize Travioli, the name. T fucking Roy at pick 6. Definitely recognize him. Libra in here again. Gerard in here at 9. Sweetleaf at 10. Infamous at 11. And Super Beast at 12. Y'all are on that side of the board. I'm glad I got a little distance from you. But wow, the decision is made for me. Give me Lamar. I'm not passing on Lamar and Superflex at pick 3. No fucking chance. Love that. Love that. But Bryce says that's why I had Evans, Terry kind of interchangeable. Yeah, I would agree. Very interchangeable. The only reason I go Terry is because I think Evans has more injury concern. But I like Evans' role a lot. When he is on the field, he should deliver with touchdowns and plenty of production. Definitely interchangeable. But especially with 2-3 years in mind, I'd go Terry just over him. All right, I'll be right back. Okay. I was so disappointed with Lamar last season. Why are you so high on him? Because we're playing best ball. And when you... The thing about this game, it's much different than redraft. And if you want to make the stance that like you can win in redraft without Lamar, I think that's reasonable. I think that's fine. But in best ball, we are looking for the player that can elevate above the rest of the pack to the point where they are clearly one of the only players that you need to win all the cash. Yes, he was bad last year, but he was also injured. And let me pull up his season-long stats, and I'll remind you just like how valuable he can be. I'm bringing it up. Give me a few seconds. Okay. Here it is. These are Lamar Jackson's stat lines last year and also fantasy points in bold. He got injured week 4. So let's just look at the first 3 games. 29.4, 26.3, 27 points. Then he got hurt. He comes back for 1 week, 25.6, and then completely flattens out. I know this is what you remember, but I want you to just remember when he was healthy. This is an average of 27 points per game. I just can't dismiss that. The offensive play calling might be getting an upgrade, maybe not, but might be. New coaching situation all over the place. At least the vibes, I think, will be better. There was a big, contentious battle in the locker room, in the building, between Lamar and his head coach. And I think removing that from the equation, Lamar is still capable of being the MVP. But damn, this is notable. I think all these running backs are kind of the same, but I do think Jefferson's in a much different tier, and it's tough to replicate some receiver points. So we're going to go anchor receiver with Justin Jefferson here, kind of right at ADP, so not that crazy, but I think valuable enough to where I will lock it in. But Cook there was pretty solid. He didn't really fall. Here though, I'm definitely taking quarterback. I gotta wait 18 picks. I'm not fucking around. Give me a quarterback I trust here. Also stacked up with Jefferson. No question. Give me a quarterback in round 3. Acevedo is at the 11 a second time around. Who's my 101? In regular redraft, give me Gibbs at 101, but typically I just want to keep a solid exposure to both Gibbs and Bijan, so I'll take them at ADP. But in redraft, only giving me one shot, I'm taking Gibbs. What's up, Bayou? Hope all is well. Hope you're doing good. Thank you for hopping in. If you haven't done so, check out Bayou Bengal FN and his fantasy channel. I recommend subscribing. We'll have some collabs, and Bayou Bengal is in the queue for visits. If you saw my DM on Twitter earlier, check it out. But yeah, I get it, man. I understand the scar tissue. I understand being bitter about it. And that's fair. It's an emotional game, and sometimes we can let that keep us in the past. But especially when you're gonna do higher volume, thankfully I got the bankroll to afford some of that this year. I'm gonna be drafting enough of these teams. I don't want them to be the same, and when I have a chance to get Lamar, I'm gonna take it, because the high upside argument is just too good to dismiss. He can be like not just the quarterback 1, but like the quarterback 1 by like 4 points a game. He can really be that strong of a pick. And then just any given Sunday, he can also drop like 50 points if it breaks right. That is also on the table. Last season was my first NFL season, so no bias from previous years. I gotcha. Especially if you only focused on Lamar last year, I could understand being livid with the experience. But as someone who drafted him at like, I remember it vividly. I won a championship, Lamar Jackson, in his first MVP season. I believe that was 2019. And I drafted him in the 14th round. I remember that vividly. I took Jared Goff of the Rams in round 10, and I took Lamar Jackson in the 14th round. And Lamar Jackson was like overwhelmingly the piece that you needed. Lamar Jackson winning you a championship will make you change your tune, my friend. Give it an MVP year with him on your roster, and you will never want to fade him. But Bayou responded to sweet. I'll check that out after we're done here. Coordinate something. All right, so around the turn, all the guys I like are off the board, so quarterback is not really a question. Wow, Neighbors is still there. Holy shit. Pick 46. That's going to be tough to pass on. Neighbors at least off the board. So not as exciting of a fall on Drake London. And I do consider Josh Jacobs in a hard tier to replicate. So I'll go Jacobs as my RB1. Get back in at running back before I regret it. And this lobby was sharp enough at quarterback to make me very happy I took Kyler there. Nice. On occasion, you'll still get a good value in the late fourth, but it's it's much different and easier to push quarterback, in my opinion, at 33 when you'll be back on the clock at pick 40, as opposed to pushing quarterback at 27 and expecting who you want to still be available at 46. Where I am on the board kind of dictates my willingness to push one more round. But looks like we're kind of deadlocked at 14 likes. Damn, I kind of want to take running back again. We have Justin Jefferson, so I think it's a little overkill, but I also don't want to feel desperate at quarterback. I'm going to take who I believe has the highest breakout potential. I'm going to go Cam Ward, and I know there's a lot of downside to this, but I'm still a believer in this former #1 overall pick. What happened here? There we go. I'll take my third QB in the 5th, and if I don't want to take a 4th, I don't have to. But I'll probably wait until round 20 if I'm going to do that. When I go 3 quarterbacks in the first 5 rounds, I'm never desperate for number 4. So it's going to be a backup. Give me the cheapest option that I think offers the highest upside, and the rest of the board will dictate that. So no quarterbacks the rest of the way until our final round. That is going to be my strategy. But damn, team 2 pushing the risk button a little farther than I would be willing to go. Bijan and Achane passed on Lamar. Has Mahomes, Rashi, and London. I mean, at least there's the Rashi stack, but only Mahomes. I'm curious to see how Team 2 will navigate the rest of the way. But I'm going to fade out the music. I think we're going to bring in a different song in a bit, but I think for a few rounds, I think we're going to chill on the music. I'm going to hit the pipe one more time. All right. I appreciate the 3 of y'all that hit the like button. I'm probably going to veto the like goal if we don't hit it. I'm going to let you know. We're doing a 3rd draft, and it's going to be a Frenchie. I'm going to do it because this contest won't be open for too long. I will. So I'm probably just going to close this poll, get rid of it. But 70, here's the thing, the poll said yes. The poll said yes. But okay, now I'm curious. I got a question for everyone. Which wide receiver is too expensive? And we're going to only stick to the second round this time. We're going to go Neighbors, London, Pickens, or Rashi. I'm very curious to what y'all have to say. I was going to make this the poll originally, and then I saw that the Frenchie contest was open. So the Frenchie is just in my mind. I kind of don't care about the like goal, ultimately. It's my choice. So I'm more interested in what the audience has to say about this question here, because wide receiver in the second round or like top of the third, it feels way better at the top of the third. Not gonna lie, I'd much rather take Derrick Henry than Neighbors or these other receivers, and I kind of feel like some of them might not pay off. But which one do you think is too expensive? Okay. Very tempting to just buy in to what ADP is telling me and take a receiver here. Not enough of a fall on Garrett Wilson, top of ADP. Only 5 picks. That's not enough to pique my interest. Instead, I'm getting the running back I feel safest with. Give me DeAndre Swift. That's the position I think I need the most right here. And I think I'm ignoring wide receiver in both of these rounds. You want Garrett Wilson? Take him. I don't give a shit. I think Travioli knows what he's doing. I think Travioli is going to hit running back again. All right. This is clearly the spot where I need running back. So I think I'm just going to disregard that entire position. Wide receiver doesn't excite me at all. Travioli takes Geno. Not bad. And then Flowers. Okay. I do like Quinshon, but I still really don't like the Browns offense. I'd much rather have the Jaguars offense. Give me Baishal Tootin over Quinshon Judkins. Whenever I'm in a tier where I don't really see a definitive like difference between certain players, I just lean in favor of the better offense. Undoubtedly, I'd rather have a Jaguar on my team than a Cleveland Brown. Even if Quinshon is more talented, a better play, capable of, dominating theoretically, I just don't trust the team as much as I trust the Jaguars. Even in a time split, I think Baishal Tutin's going to be more valuable down the stretch over the course of the year than Quinshon Judkins. But ultimately, a similar tier, kind of nitpicking between two good options. But personally, I'll go Baishal Tutin over Quinshon Judkins. But I am pretty shocked with Libra's strategy. Libra has a 4-0-3-0 rocking right now. And that would make me extremely uncomfortable. Quarterback room is solid. Definitely the most depth of anyone. So can't complain there. Receiver's great, but you better fucking stop. You can't judge a draft until it's really over. But sometimes you're like, yeah, this team is dead. And you know early on because there's just such a glaring weakness. I wouldn't rule this team out, but there's just decisions I think need to be made soon. And if they're not, then I'd be much more inclined to just write it off. There's still a few running backs that are okay though. But Super Beast passes on running back again. Infamous still only rocking with 2. This is what I would like to see. What is Lieber going to go? It's Tyler Warren. I guess. I guess. So looks like round 8 is like clearly the sweet spot for wide receiver. In like every single draft, I like all the receivers that I'm taking in the 8th round. So that's pretty notable. But to get here, I'm gonna take Tony Pollard. The Cam Ward correlation, not the most valuable, but relevant, and it's a position I want to lock up. I also think I missed out on like the big value at receiver in the 8th round. Like if Carnell Tate made it to me, I think that would have been a nice click paired with Cam Ward. I wouldn't have ruled it out, but he did not. And who can circle back at receiver is pretty comparable to who might not be available at running back. Rodgers goes. I would have been very tempted to take Rodgers at 99. Not gonna lie. So kind of glad he was taken. Very valuable this late. And then Tua goes. So once again, not compelled to go in that direction. I think I will just commit to the strength. All these receivers feel the same to me. But Rico Dowdle, I think, can pop in a way the others just can't. So I will go Rico Dowdle. I'll bet that Swift carries me and is really just the guy I need, and that's correct. But I was super tempted to go with Kyle Monangai. Super tempting to just lock up both Chicago Bears. That might have been the move. But ultimately, I rank Rico over Kyle Monangai. I like both of them though. I've talked myself into Monangai. I used to be like exclusively DeAndre Swift, but the week leading up to the draft, I started to kind of regret some of my fade on Monangai. Started to take him a lot more in the UDFA tournaments for $2 a pop, and then after he survived the draft, it became very clear. I still really like Swift. I still think Swift is a great pick. Swift always kind of delivers in terms of ROI on ADP. He has stayed healthy the last few years, and he consistently puts up top 20 numbers, not just on a per game basis, but like on the season. Swift, I think, is a great, reliable pick. But I also think Monangai has earned enough of a role and confidence in the offense to where the Bears are not going to move off of him. They want to run the ball a lot. So you want both Chicago Bears running backs. But I do think Dowdle ultimately has higher upside that is not injury reliant. Because while I can talk myself into Kyle Monangai being like a league winner when Swift goes down, there's also a world where Jalen Warren goes down, and Rico's only now competing with Caleb Johnson. We know we don't have to worry about that. So Rico has just the same high leverage outcomes if the starter beside him gets injured. And then I also think Rico Dowdle can actually just win the job. Whereas Monangai, I don't think so. I don't see Monangai overtaking Swift. I can see them getting close to even, but I can see Dowdle overtaking Warren. That's why I really like Rico Dowdle. But this team feels really strong with the anchor Justin Jefferson. The running back room is really loaded, really deep. 5 starters. Can't ask for much more than that. We waited to round 4 to take our first, so I got Jacobs after Travion. I didn't even notice that. That's pretty interesting. Back on the clock, Lemon's still here. He circled all the way back. That's notable. Again, I'm not compelled to overcommit at wide receiver. I see my preference with Sam Laporta, and I will just take Sam Laporta. But Libra finally took a running back, took JCM as the RB1. Yuck. Libra. Yuck. Every time I see Travioli on the clock, I think of that scene from SpongeBob where Plankton makes like a fake Mr. Krabs robot, and he gets like caught in like the closet singing ravioli, ravioli, give me the formioli. Uh, Travioli, Travioli. Okay, what am I looking at? I think now is the time to get back in it. Receiver. And Myers is like extremely reliable. Pearsall's pretty tempting. Fuck it. I'll go Pearsall. We'll go with Pearsall today. We pushed it. We pushed the receiver spot to its limit, perhaps, but I do think that is the best value on the board. But Evans' injury risk, Stribling not giving me much confidence, paired with Christian Kirk as like just a true slot only player. Pearsall's going to be on the field. Pearsall is no doubt about it going to be on the field. It's just a question of will he be healthy, and ultimately there's first round draft capital around Ricky Pearsall. He's a good click. He's fine. It's just injury risk why he kind of makes you scared. Not going to lie. I still feel very risky investing in Pearsall, but like the true high outcome best case scenario for Pearsall is definitely better than the best case scenario for Myers. Myers in a much more crowded system. I'll go Ricky P. But definitely in the market for Quentin Johnston or Pittman there. I definitely thought about it. The team with Rodgers passed on Pittman for Godwin. I respect that. I think that's fair. But the stack is still valuable. Even in Superflex, the stack is still valuable. Team with Love has Christian Watson and Romeo. Oh, Dobbs isn't a Packer anymore. What am I saying? Uh, so this team feels pretty fun. The fact that I have Jefferson, just such a luxury. I'm liking it. Lamar, Kyler, and Cam Ward. Running back is deep as fuck. Jacobs, Swift, Tootin, Pollard, Dowdle. And then receiver with Jefferson, Pearsall. Tight end is Sam Laporta. I'm liking it so far. And if he's still there for me, it'd be the first time I click him since the draft. But I have a feeling I'm going to like whatever receiver's still on the board here. Whether it's Golden or Wandale, I'll be happy with that. But given I have Cam Ward, it makes more sense, in my opinion, to go with Wandale. And he's there. Um, yeah, I'm still pretty on board with Wandale. Back-to-back years with 140 targets. Is that locked in? Probably not. But I think he's overwhelmingly the wide receiver 2. And it's not like Cardinal Tate, I think, in his rookie year is just going to be like so overwhelmingly dominant that Wandale's just going to fall off. I think Wandale's a very established number 2. I'm not that worried about Calvin Ridley at all. And I think he's fallen enough to where, yeah, maybe he's not as exciting to me as he was a month ago, but Wandale stacked up with Cam Ward still feels valuable enough to be excited about. It'd be interesting if this team passed on Xavier Worthy twice with Mahomes. Didn't expect to see that. I have Laporta, so although I think the tight end position is really valuable, I'm going to pass on that. I'll further my depth, and I'll go Xavier Worthy. Just like Ricky Pearsall, rather risky. But if it hits, holy shit, this is way too low for Xavier Worthy in a format like Best Ball. Worthy can drop a 30-pointer. He can also have like a 5-game stretch with like less than 5 points, but he can also drop a 30-pointer. He can give you a house call from 80 yards, both in the passing game and in the run game. And it's just a matter of time where he like averages like 8+ targets per game. I think that's all I'm asking from Xavier Worthy. 8 targets a game. And I think he will like undoubtedly be one of the best picks in terms of a return on value. But if he's closer to like 6 targets per game, then maybe this ADP is very warranted. He feels far more valuable than Jaden Higgins to me. And then while I do like Coker, undoubtedly give me the Mahomes receiver 2 instead of the Bryce Young receiver 2. Like, let's not even pretend like that's a question. So he feels slept on. And I think his injury was a big reason why he sucked so bad last year. Like week 1, Kelsey just took him out and never quite the same. And then we all know that last year was just like so snake bitten for them. You can kind of just throw it all out. It's such an outlier. It might just be signs of things to come. Maybe it's a very clear and obvious red flag. Just like, nah, leave that shit alone. But yeah, we'll see. My bad. I forgot about the chat. I started the new poll, and then I didn't pull up the new chat function. My bad. Okay. What's up, Goofy Chicken? How we doing? You know what? In honor of you, let's take a rip from the pipe. Good time for smoke. Looks like we're going to have the Goofy Chicken on the channel on Monday. So make sure you're subscribed for that. That's going to be really fun. And check out Goofy Chicken Fantasy over on his channel. Give him a subscribe. And I'm very excited for Monday. Looks like Monday evening stream with Goofy Chicken is on the slate. Who Hames wants me to pull up KLS. If I will, it's going to be like round 19. Not around 14, though. But we almost did it. We pulled up Brennan Thompson earlier with... Hold on, I'm on the clock. Am I just going Juwan Johnson? I think so. Actually, nah. I think I'm going to go Juwan Jennings. because of the Minnesota connection right now. We might have a double Viking stack. I think that's solid. That's pretty solid. And then we'll see what Travioli does, but I'm willing to give it one more turn before my tight end position. But subscribe to Who Hames if you haven't done so. Check out Who Hames' channel, and as well as Goofy Chicken. Looking forward to it as well. Definitely going to be fun. Toby says Worthy's built like glass. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. But the 4.2 speed, at least I can dream. At least I can dream of what's possible with Xavier Worthy. But Juwan makes it back. Phenomenal. I don't get the stack, but honestly, if Juwan Jennings goes to Minnesota, I think TJ Hawkinson's even worse. So Juwan Johnson, come on down. Great value, 10 picks past ADP, and ultimately who I wanted more at tight end. I think he's more valuable than TJ Hawkinson. So I'm happy with that. This team is coming together. We're now up to 3-5-5-2, so we've balanced out at wide receiver. Interesting way to navigate this, but I think I am pretty happy with it. We go quarterback in round 1 with Lamar, then Justin Jefferson at the end of the second. Get back in at quarterback with Kyler, a Viking stack. Running back in round 4 with Josh Jacobs. I think I got bailed out a little bit with this price on Jacobs. Just a tick. Cam Ward in the early 5th. Compared to who would have made it back, I think by far my favorite. But I do like Darnold as well. But I think I prefer the upside potential of Cam Ward. And then we hammered running back for 4 straight rounds. Felt a little bit of urgency to get in before the cliff. I go Swift, Beischel, Tootin, Tony Pollard, and Rico Dowdle. 4 straight RBs. And really the last one I feel comfortable with as my 5th and confident play is Kenneth Gainwell. So if you want to just have a run at that position at any point in the draft in the Superflex format before you hit Kenny Gainwell, or just in general, kind of approaching everything that way, I like it, especially in Superflex where you get rewarded with tremendous wide receiver values later on. I took Laporta and then still got Pearsall, Wan'Dale Robinson, Xavier Worthy, and Juwan Jennings. This receiver room feels fantastic with Jefferson up top and only a need to start 2 any given week. Tremendous upside with Ricky P and Worthy. Cap ceiling, but high floor with Wan'Dale. And then Juwan, we believe correlates with Kyler, but I think the Vikings are one of the lower end potential landing spots for him in terms of fantasy outcomes. I think he actually loses some value if he does go to Minnesota. But if it's stacked, then it's worth it. And then if he doesn't go there, then I think it could be better. Like if you told me Juwan Jennings was in Las Vegas next year, I would love this pick definitely more than if he's a Minnesota Viking. But the Vikings did not replace Jalen Naylor with anyone. I don't believe in Ty Felton. And Jennings also can throw like a 50-yard touchdown. Jennings also has that potential. Rewind to the Super Bowl, and he can pop for like a 30-point game. 20 plus is definitely in the cards for him, but he can also do nothing. There's seasons with Juwan where he does jack fucking shit. It's been a minute though since he's been that bad. I do like Gunnar Helm in this range. I think he's okay, but I also really like Debo. And we pushed tight end in the last one, and it really worked out. I think Debo's in a tier above the rest. I'll go Debo here. I genuinely believe that these like free agent veterans that just haven't signed yet are some of the best values at receiver on the board. I'm just taking them as much as possible right now because I like fully believe that a month from now you will never get this price on Debo Samuel again. Anywhere he signs, he's going up the board. Like really, you're telling me he signs in What's like a bad landing spot? Miami? You know, like if he's a Miami Dolphin, he's skyrocketing. I did miss out on Helm. I also missed out on Njoku. That's not great. Those are my two I wanted. So instead, we'll make a pivot. I do like Katron here, though. But tight end's about to evaporate. We'll go Kate Otten. Really, really, really valuable option this late. Kate Otten. Most running backs are equally as bad. The Jets. Okay, yeah, that'd be terrible. But I don't think Debo's going to the Jets, bro. Like, Debo's going to chase a ring. Or the most money. And I think with everything they added in New York, I don't see him going to the Jets. But, like, what if he went to, like, the Steelers? You know, that would suck. The Steelers would be a bummer. Maybe the Browns is worse. Perhaps the Browns is a worse spot. Okay, even if he's on the Jets, isn't he still moving up? He'll still probably move up if he's on the Jets, right? Like, who'd you rather have? Kenyan Sadiq or Debo Samuel if they're both on the Jets? I still think the argument holds. I still think even on the worst landing spot, Debo Samuel is moving up. And then you give him like the best landing spot imaginable. And it's like, yeah, this is way too cheap for Debo Samuel. Like, I think he should be going with like Jalen McMillan. Yeah, the Steelers would suck. Steelers, Debo to the Steelers would train wreck everything. That would be horse shit. You know, I was almost 30%. I was over 30% Jeremy Bernard in the pre-draft contest. That's probably nuked already, but you add Debo to the mix, that's fucking worthless. Metcalf is such a bad pick. Pittman, maybe a little more valuable than the rest, but still a really bad pick. Debo to the Steelers would be atrocious. And yet I'd still think he's more valuable than this. I'd still want to take him over 190. Anyways, am I done at receiver, though? I have 6 of them, and I like them all. I got Jefferson, Ricky Pearsall, Wandell, Xavier Worthy, and then Juwan Jennings, Debo Samuel. We're just trusting the Niners' history at receiver. Maybe I'm living in the past with Juwan and Debo, but Debo on the Commanders was pretty good last year. What if Debo goes to the Rams? What if that happens? Oh shit. That'd be fire. I don't think I can see him on the Chiefs, but it's definitely possible. Bills also potential. You know, think of the optimism. I have 3 picks left. I could think of the optimism with Tyreek, but I think I'm gonna cool it. I'm gonna go Damon Claiborne. I'm willing to imagine that optimism, especially if Aaron Jones goes down. I think Claiborne would slot in as the pass catcher. Jordan Mason is like inept in that category. Jordan Mason doesn't have like more than 1 game with more than 2 catches, like let alone targets. Jordan Mason is inept on passing downs. So Aaron Jones, the problem with him is injury risk. If he is going to be replaced, that means Claiborne is probably running routes. But running back's also a position I don't want to be underweight on. Adam Randall's interesting, but I'm going to go Jameis Winston here. Just in case that Jackson Dart drafter wants to handcuff him. We'll get in just ahead of him, around 19. But the difference between round 19, round 20, what's it really? I'll just take my preference. A team at Dart and Purdy with Cousins. He goes Mac Jones. So he might have been interested in Winston. But you're telling me Jackson Dart is going to play all 17 games? I doubt it. And Winston has nothing to lose. And last year we saw him without Malik Neighbors. Winston with Neighbors can be so fucking good. And then his game against Detroit was just so fun to root for. He was so good that week. Like, he's going to let it all on the line. Toby says, got Mac Jones instead. I'm glad you had the other option, but Winston, I think, has a slightly higher ceiling than Mac Jones. I took Mac Jones in the last one, so I like Mac Jones too. But what I'm trying to do is, like, when I go late round quarterback, if I just took one in the previous draft, I'm probably not going to take them again immediately after. I'm going to be mixing it up, more likely than not. But this is definitely our last Superflex draft. I want to enter the Frenchie. Not going to lie. If I can only enter it twice, and I don't know if it'll be open tomorrow, I'm going to enter the Frenchie today. At least one of those entries will be on the live. And this last round, I think I'm going back to running back. The receiver room feels good enough. The anchor, Justin Jefferson, I'm just going to trust that he stays healthy. It all works out. He's back in the top 3 at the position, and we're locked and loaded. Pearsall, Wandale, I think a very good combo between the two. And then Worthy has a lot of risk, but let's bet on upside, and then let's trust that these ADPs will be rising once the landing spots are secured. Jawan, I'm not sure if he's going to be falling much, but or rising much either. I feel like this is probably a fair price for him if he's in Minnesota, but then if he's not, he'll go higher. And then Debo, I think, definitively will go much higher than 190. I'm good with it. And then lastly, I'm taking my boy, Trevor Etienne. Come on down. Carolina Panthers, RB3. No one can convincingly argue that Chuba Hubbard is the guy, and then we all know that Jonathan Brooks has problems staying healthy. Trevor Etienne, a 4th-round pick out of Georgia. It's like crack. Give me a Georgia running back. I can't pass it up. It's like dank weed. It's like the dankest weed you've ever had. A Georgia running back in round 20. I'll go in that direction, please. Perhaps worthless, but I'll be the only guy in this contest with Trevor Etienne. That's probably the case. All right, I like the team. Full recap. Here's the thing. It's Travis Achan. It will be Trevor Etienne in my book. Until he comes out publicly and denounces it, it will be Trevor Etienne and Travis Achan. How about that? That's the way I'm playing it. I want to reminisce in the good old days where we can just say Etienne and move on with our life. That's the nostalgia I'm chasing, Pepper Tony. Let me have my fix. You know I'm an addict. Okay. Lamar, Kyler, Cam Ward, Jameis Winston feels great. Running back Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Swift, Byshel Tootin, Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, Damon Claiborne, and my boy, Trevor Etienne. We don't have that elite top 5 play, but we have really, really strong depth. And then like 2 of the highest upside swings in terms of RB3s, young guys that could just be in a perfect situation. Muddy backfields, that's for sure. Not a convincing pecking order that we know will hold all year long in Minnesota or Carolina. So if I am going to draft a 3rd running back, I want to play it like that. A risky backfield that could turn my way. And then at receiver, we got the anchor, Justin Jefferson. So really strong. Only have to start one other guy every week. And if we get a 3rd, then we're in business. But Ricky Pearsall, Wandale, Xavier Worthy, Jawan, Debo. High floor, high upside with everyone. I'm I like that. And then Wandale's correlated. So is Jefferson. Um, we'll hope with the other two. Laporta, I think a smash steal where we got him. Juwan Johnson, 10 picks past ADP, but already a really good value. Has also been on a shit ton of like contest winning rosters for some reason. Kate Otten, past ADP, super good value. I like this team a lot. Really happy with this team overall. A 4-7-6-3 with a truly elite anchor at wideout. Feels nice. I'm not going to go over too many other people's teams, especially if you were in this earlier lobby. But if you want me to review your team, let me know now, just like Toby's doing right now. Thank you. JJ Top gets a team review. I'm only going to do 3. Dart, Purdy, Cousins, Mac Jones definitely works, and you got the Niners handcuff. That's valuable in and of itself. Gibbs, Travis Achan, Javonte, Quinshawn, and Tyrone Tracy. Pretty solid, but in this format, I like to have more than 5. But I love the early investment in the top 4. That's pretty smart. And then you can only start up to 4. So maybe you have an argument stopping at 5 is worth it. But wide receiver has Tet McMillan, Carnell Tate, Marvin Harrison, Denzel Boston, Jerry Jeudy, a pretty worthless pick in my opinion. Like Boston and Jeudy, are you a Browns fan? But like, yikes, bro. Yikes. Antonio Williams, Christian Kirk, and then Darnell Mooney. Solid depth. Fairly solid, but with this Browns investment, yikes. Kirk is also like... I'm having a hard time fully believing in Kirk since they drafted Stribling. But odds are he gets on the field when other guys get injured. Fannin, Likely, and Sadiq. Very good tight end room. But interesting. You have so many Browns and you don't have Deshaun, or should I say Massage? You don't have the Massage or Shador. Did you get sniped? Shador, yeah, a little bit of a snipe on Shador, and then Massage went pretty early. I get it. I get it. Yeah, you may have been planning it, but I think you got sniped. Way too many Browns though. Like gross. Way too many Cleveland Browns. Yeah, in round 11, you were 3 picks away. No dice though. Better luck next time. I would have not further commit to Boston and Jeudy. I definitely would have stopped with the Browns investments. Infamous and Sweetleaf and Super Beast were already in here. Gerard hopping in for the first time today. Let's take a look at Gerard's team. He's got Drake May, Herbert, Fields, and Mariota. Very nice. Good rushing backups to have. I like that quite a bit. Love the Mariota pick down the stretch. You pulled up Fields by 60 spots, though. That's interesting. Fields at 136. Probably not egregious in the grand scheme of things, but damn. Okay. Hampton, Travion, Bucky, Ramondre, both Patriots is pretty solid. Keaton, so both Chargers is pretty solid. And then Emmanuel Wilson, not bad. T. Higgins, DJ Moore, Michael Wilson, Addison, Quentin Johnson, Trey Harris. Love that you stopped at 6. You got the double Charger combo. That's pretty solid. And then Brenton Strange, and then punted tight end, closed it out with Terrence Ferguson, Parkinson, and Tonjes, final 3 rounds. So the reach on Fields, 100% worth it, given like how much you were just punting tight end. Yeah, good team. Good team. Maybe the Travion Ramondre duo caps some upside ultimately, but I don't think it's a bad approach at all. And good offenses all around. I like the strategy here. Only click I'm not like a big fan of is the Michael Wilson selection, just because Arizona feels gross. But all the receivers in that range kind of feel gross. I wouldn't complain about it. He can he can also crush on this ADP. So worth the bet. Good team. And then the last one I'm going to check out is going to be Sweetleaf. And then I'll take a look at Travioli because I was kind of peeping it the whole time. In totality, Travioli has Allen, Willis, Gino, and Rogers. Cook, Genty, Brees, Bigsby, and Caleb Johnson. Little thin. Caleb Johnson is pretty worthless probably. So little thin. Flowers, Tyson, Lemon, Godwin, Golden, Cooper, Branch, and Tyreek Hill. Very solid, very effective. Andrews, Hellman, and Joku. Not bad. You know what, Keith? Sure. You got the first one, but you've stuck around the entire time. Sure. Love and Tyler Shuck. Okay, so only 2 quarterbacks. Good luck here. Taylor, CMC, C-Rod, Brooks, Emmett, Vidal, and Randall. Good depth, and then Taylor and CMC is elite, so should be all right. Devontae Smith, Mike Evans, Watson, Parker Washington, Dobbs, Shaheed, Diggs, and Booty. Pretty good receiver room, really solid depth, but how many are you going to be starting? Maybe 3. Loveland, Okonkwo, Jolie. The bet on Jolie is pretty unique. Haven't seen that done yet. But Love and Tyler Shuck, that's too thin for me. I don't like the 2 quarterbacks. I don't think you needed 8 receivers, even if it's a random, handcuff, man. Like even if it's Flacco over Kayshon Boutte. Give me one more. Give me a dirt cheap backup. I don't like the 2 quarterbacks. It's possible you thread the needle, but like I said, you're trying to thread a needle. But this isn't for 2 quarterbacks. I don't hate it so much, but I just don't like it. I want at least 3 in every super flex draft. And if I'm stopping at 3, it's because I'm stopping with 3 with like Cam Ward here, or like the team with Baker Mayfield. Like Libra could stop at 3 with Daniels, Goff, and Baker. Love and Shuck is okay, but I want to see a 3rd. You could get away with it though. Who knows? Maybe we're all incorrect. I think it's time. We did not hit the like goal. I don't care. I'm okay with that. We got 23 likes. So if you want in, the advance rates in this are really positive. I love the setup for this tournament. 10K to first, only 2 entries max. I like this a lot. I'm doing one right now. I'm going to hop into the Frenchie in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 7 spots left. Come get the smoke. This will be our last draft of the day, however. But for $15, a chance at 10,000, and a really good advance rate to make the finals. Top 3 will advance. Then it's 1 out of 5, 1 out of 6. And only 31 people in the final. Like, that's pretty awesome. To have that good of an advance rate and then still only have 31 people in the final. I know 10K, maybe not like the most, but like this is like the flock tournament basically, with a really small final lobby. It would suck to make the final and then finish dead last, though. I will say, if you finish 31st, that would suck. But no problem, Keith. If you request it, I'm happy to do it. But I hope that helps. An extra quarterback, I think, is a little critical. Still waiting on 2. I think we will pop some music for this one. But I think I'll keep it relatively low. But for the sake of the vibes, I think I would like some music on the Frenchie. I don't know exactly when I can live stream tomorrow. And so running that risk, it's possible that this tournament's just filled when I want to do it. I think some of these smaller field contests, because the Frenchie doesn't have that many entries, only 3,720. Like there's a chance that if I don't get the second one in right after this, I may have to do it off stream, which I wouldn't hate for my advance rate. Wouldn't be too upset with that. But I would love to get it on the live stream tomorrow. And maybe because it's a double max, it may not fill as quickly in the second half as the first half, because most of the degens have already maxed it. But being on the West Coast, I could easily see myself wake up tomorrow and like it's already full. But this lobby is full. I'm stoked. And let's see what pick we get. The pick that you get is really important in this, I believe, because you only have 2 cracks at it. I get pick 7. I'm okay with pick 7. Maybe not my favorite spot, but I've also drafted some dope teams, I think, recently out of pick 7. But what is stopping Underdog from doing 50 Frenchies? They would probably sell them all easy. I think the variety is, at this stage of the game, what they're going to test out the most, see kind of the response of it all. But the reason why I think they're not going to do 50 of them is because it takes away your motivation to enter Best Ball Mania, for instance, or the Eliminator, or like other contests. This early in the year, it's not that big of a deal. Who cares? But the longer they have a bunch of other contests that are cheaper and more exciting to maybe enter, it impacts perhaps the fill rate of some other contests that they don't want to fill. I expect them to do plenty. I'm not worried that they're not going to fill what they want to fill. Underdog knows what they're doing. But it wouldn't shock me at all if they dropped a shit ton of these like 3,000 entry tournaments, like low field contest, because these ones are really fun and they do fill fast. When you can only do 2, you're gonna hop in at least one of them. It's just kind of the nature of the beast sometimes. You don't want to miss out. But Taylor here at 7, I love it. Very happy with that. Who Hames just finished his first Frenchie. I wish you luck. Stacking, maybe not as important as critical in this setting. You only need to finish 3rd, but I wouldn't overlook it. It's still a valuable strategy all of the time. But in this lobby, I recognize Sanka. Sanka pulled a 102, went Gibbs. Love that for you, Sanka. And then we've drafted with Feel Good Inc. before. Maybe he's watching, maybe just happens to be in the lobby. And then I think I recognize Shoddy 247. They just took Jefferson, but maybe not. Shout it out in the chat if you are in this lobby, if you are watching. But I think for the most part, it's definitely live that not many of y'all are drafting with me. But I assume Sanka's been in a bunch of lobbies. You remember that like joke in Family Guy where is it Mr. Herbert? The old, like, guy that talks with a lisp and has a crush on Chris. Constantly tries to, like, lure him into the house. And he's doing, like, a commercial for Fanta, but it's called Sanka. That's what I think of whenever I see Sanka in the lobby. Don't you wanna Sanka? It's not pleasant, but it's so specific. It's too specific not to think about. I try to max out any $5, $10, $25, $50 2 to 5 max for best ball. And when you can only do a couple, yeah, it's tough not to. Still waiting for my yeah. Oh, the paper boy. Okay. I'm for sure going double running back. And while Achan is interesting, a decent fall, I don't love it. Sorry if Pepper Tony's watching, but I'm not gonna take Achan. I'll take Kenneth Walker today. Sanka is a coffee brand and a character in Cool Run-Ins. Don't ask me which name it comes from, though. I'm guessing it's the character, but maybe you love your coffee. Maybe you love your Sanka. Or maybe it's specifically the old man from Family Guy in that obscure ad. But what's up, young Moolah? How we doing? We are in a Frenchie today. The Frenchie Draft in a Frenchie. If I had to guess, I might have some extra positive vibes. Perhaps. But so far, so good. Interesting that Hampton fell to 22 in this. Damn. The disrespect for Hampton there. If Sanka started Gibbs Hampton, that would have been crazy. But Jamar, Hampton, and Brees. Higgins off the board. Don't see that too often. 28. AJ Brown taken. Tempting to go Allen, but I ultimately prefer Travis Etienne over Josh Allen. So I get 3 running backs. I'm going to establish a strength in this lobby. And to finish top 3 is all we need to move on. I think I have a little extra risk tolerance where I'm willing to do that. If I had to finish first, I think I wouldn't have fucked around. I think I would have just taken Josh Allen. If this was like, you know, only 1 out of 12 advance, I think I would have gone in that direction. But with 3 out of 12, I'll go trip RB. And as the room gets more panicked at that position, we will enjoy the luxury of waiting and passing for a while. But wow, Allen falls to the 4th. Whew. Very interesting. There he goes. All right, that team gets a very unique combo. Took Neighbors and Genty at 11 and 14 with Tet and then Josh Allen in the 4th. Scattaboo all the way at 39. Damn, this is a draft where people are getting their guys. Not fucking around. I'm kind of tempted to hit him with the gritty or something like that. I'm kind of tempted to go with 4 running backs. Luther Burden goes. Yeah, running back's a little more appetizing with Garrett Wilson at the top of ADP. Do I want my only 1 of 2 entries to have Garrett Wilson? I don't think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna stop at 4. I think I'm done with running back for the remainder of the draft. Maybe I get a nice value on a handcuff I like, but with one of them already hitting my bench, let's go fragile. Wilson been dropping like a rock in all my drafts, very understandably. They brought in so many pass catchers. It's the Jets in the first place. Like, I don't think he wants to be there. Pretty good trade candidate, you know. I mean, granted, if he gets traded, I think I'd love him. I think he'd be great if he got traded, but are they willing to do that? I don't know. Garrett Wilson's not that inspiring. I'll just overcommit to running back today. Okay, I'm going to turn off the air conditioner. I'll be right back. But I'm super tempted to hit him with a gritty on this one. Damn, I wish I got Lamar. If I got Lamar at 55, it would have been perfect. But Terry's still here. I love DJ Moore too. I think Terry's just slightly safer. Just a touch, but both of them are great picks. We will take Terry at 55. Wilson to the Chiefs and just give them every pass catcher on earth for Mahomes. That's not going to happen. No way that happens. If it does, everyone will be livid. And we'll just burn the Jets franchise to the ground if that happens. But damn, the Josh Allen damn. I can't believe Allen went at 38 and the team also got DJ Moore. That's fucking crazy. Maybe I should have taken DJ Moore just for the integrity of the draft, but damn, that's nice for team 11. With the Genty anchor, pretty dope. And goes Brian Thomas. We see Hurts to the Devontae drafter. I guess if you're gonna pass on Josh Allen, you better take Hurts to pair with Devontae. Come on, Megatron. Fuck yeah, it worked out. That's why I took Terry over DJ. If I took DJ, there's no way I got the stack. Taking Terry opens up that potential. Yes. Love that. Love that for me. I'm in business here. Both of your Frenchies, you have Derrick Henry and Nico. Dope. I mean, that's a nice combo. Nico in the third is such a good pick. All right. So a hyper fragile build so far. Taylor, Walker, Travis Etienne, Travion Henderson. And if you're going to go with 4 running backs, I feel like Henderson is like one of the perfect like guys to do that with in round 4. Like Hendo can be kind of irrelevant for a while, and then when he pops, he's just like so overwhelmingly a piece that you need. I think the nature of taking Henderson, you're already tolerating like a decent amount of bagels, like where he's just on the bench and not going over 6 or 7 points. Unless his role like drastically changes from last year and, you know, Ramondre becomes irrelevant sometimes. In that case, it's even better. But if we just got exactly what we got out of Travion last season, we're getting a few massive spike weeks, a bunch of house calls, and like games where he just takes over. So from a standpoint of only drafting 4 or, you know, taking the 5th super late just because it's a great value, I think Travion fits as the 4th really nicely. Not in the same way that Montgomery fits as the 4th or like Jadarian Price fits as the 4th. Not going to take RJ Harvey, though. That's for sure. I think I'm just going to go quarterback. Addison is tempting, but with Jawan Jennings maybe coming in, less so. And I just rank Herbert as the most valuable quarterback. So I'm going to take who I think is the safest, most effective pick in round 7. Round 7 sucks. Round 7 has so many errors. A lot of draft capital is being invested in round 7, and there are very few guarantees. A lot of names whose backups we like. A lot of receivers with question marks. The tight ends feel strong, but tight end is always valuable. Meanwhile, quarterback falls off a cliff. I'm pretty convinced that round 7 is where you want to take quarterback. Most of the... what the hell happened there? I guess my system was delayed. That's the only way that happened. But for 5 straight running backs to go off, I think that's also very, very legit. When you're in doubt, if you just go running back, you're probably not making a mistake. So maybe I did make a mistake going Herbert, but I don't think Herbert would have circled back. I like Herbert more than every other quarterback, and I'm trying to have a strength at this position and not make a mistake. All the receivers in round 7, just so many mistakes I think are potentially being made. Two Mules says in a drafters right now, and Hampton just went at 24. Damn, the Hampton hate. I will chase him down the board. I will assure you that. But Corum at 84. Yeah, that team got excited for Blake Corum. What's going on? I'm very worried that I'm on the clock right now. I think I am. Shit. My computer just lagged. I wound up with Cortland Sutton. Fuck. Damn it. Y'all saw the jump from RJ Harvey through Blake Corum. Damn it. Yeah. I mean, of all the clicks, I don't think it's the worst thing to be making. It's at least a good value, I suppose. 10 picks passed, but like, damn it. I did not want Cortland Sutton on this team. Wasted pick in the Frenchie. That's a bummer. Watch him score like 20 like 12 touchdowns or something, and he's the guy I need. I guess, but I don't feel good about that happening to me. Not gonna help at all. Round 8. At least Rico Dowdle wasn't an option, but like, damn. It could have been worse, though. It could have been much worse. I've got it on my phone now just to like make sure. Yeah, laugh at my pain, my friend. Laugh at my pain. But it could have been much, much worse. This lobby's pretty disrespectful to tight end so far, so I'll go QJ. Quarterback got pulled up way up a lot in this one. Yeah, we see Jordan Love at 98. Otherwise, most of it is pretty normal, except for the Burrow click, the Dak Prescott click. Most of it's pretty normal, though. Allen fell crazy. Peppertoni, I think it's fair. It's been the correct move the last 2 years. It's been good the last 2 seasons. He's in a contract year. He can't really afford to fuck up too bad. For the price, I don't see why not. Especially when I have Herbo. But the only like quarterback remaining is Baker. And with C-Rod coming off the board, I'm glad I don't really need running back too much. Just set up week 17 Chargers Broncos game set. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely possible. Of all the players to auto-click, even though I don't like him, it was really like not terrible at all. Baker does go. I could go Gainwell, but instead I'm going to just take Gadsden. You know, I took Herbert. Let's make it for a reason. And yeah, that's what we're doing. Good call, Pepper Tony. Thanks for the input. But the poll is interesting. We have 23 votes. 48% say Neighbors is too expensive. Then we have London, then Pickens. The least voted for player in this poll is Rashee Rice. I thought Rashee would be higher on the list. But that's true. We also have Kenny Walker on this one. Pepper Tony thinks it's Rice. Rice went pick 15 in this. But Neighbors also went pick 11. This was an interesting lobby. This was a really, really interesting lobby. It says a lot when you only have 2 entries and the lobby goes like this. There's some weird vibes all throughout. But my team's coming together. We're rocking with the 2-4-3-1. We took Daniels and Herbert both stacked up. I love the Terry Daniels combo in this. I started with 4 straight running backs. So I've been ignoring that position for quite some time. Taylor, Walker, Travis Etienne, and Travion Henderson. Feels phenomenal. The Terry fall was a gift. Sutton and QJ. I'm coming around on the Sutton click. I think it was just what the doctor ordered ultimately. It does help my team quite a bit. I am so fucking tempted to take Jonathan Brooks here, man. I really want to take Jonathan Brooks, honestly. But I don't think I can. So instead, I think I'm just going to take most valuable tight end. And in my opinion, that is Dallas Goedert. All the receivers feel like the same to me. So I'll take the tight end that stands out the most. I think this team can absolutely just stop at 2 quarterbacks if I want. So a third might be interesting. I guess it's not a true hit him with the gritty without a high investment at third quarterback, but the Sutton timeout decided our fate. It's okay. I'm coming around to it. That's for sure. I'm getting more comfortable with it. I believe you are correct, Pepperton. If I take a 5th, it has to be so fucking late. It's pretty worthless for me to take one right now, given the other holes on my roster. But strong at tight end. I never really regret the Goddard pick. Even unstacked, I never regret it. But this is 100% a section where I should just be hammering receiver. My favorite in Cam Ward at quarterback came off the board, so I'm not going to take quarterback for a minute. Damn, Concepcion. What's going to happen here? Wow. Concepcion at 138. I'll do that. Very talented. This late for a Browns wide receiver, I think he's the one you want. I'll do it with Concepcion at 138. The rookie upside. Let's go with that. Like 2 picks before Travis Hunter? Yeah. Okay, I got one of the best prices I've seen on Concepcion. I never take him, but I'll take him here. His ADP's 111. So more than 2 full rounds. 27 picks. Hard to pass. I still have 6 rounds left. I feel like at least 5 of these next picks have to be receiver, though. Like, even 8 receivers, I think, is too thin. So we'll see what the final luxury selection is. I think it can be one of every position, but I'm probably going to stop at 4 running backs. This team's fun. This team is really fun. I mean, Kincaid this late. Makes a lot of sense to go Chig, but Kincaid this late. I'm not going to let the Josh Allen drafter also get Kincaid at 155. I'm remembering the lesson we learned on DJ Moore. I should have probably taken Okonkwo there. But damn, such a good price on both Concepcion and Kincaid. 20 plus on both of them. Oh, I guess 19 on Kincaid. Okay, thank God Okonkwo went, because honestly, I was grappling with the idea of going 4 tight ends. Now I'm just locked in. I think every pick needs to be a receiver. I think I'm locked in. Right? It was just so late. The stack is valuable, and maybe it's more valuable, but it was such a good price. I'm not taking Boston with Concepcion. I'm taking Debo. I want some money in the bank. I don't want to just cover my ass with Boston. I'm reaching on Debo, and there's like values still left on the board, but like I don't really give a shit. I shit on a team in the team review on the last one that went Concepcion, Denzel, Boston, or like Boston and Judy. I'm not doubling up on Cleveland Browns. Christian Kirk 164. This is a weird lobby, man. And maybe I made it weird because of what I did. But like, fuck. Silver Rapture says I should have snagged Boston. I mean, maybe he comes back around, man. I don't think it's crazy to assume he circles back. But I don't want 2 Browns receivers. I really don't. Ayuk still on the board. Sadiq still on the board. Boston still on the board. We're coming up on pick 175. And the ADP means nothing right now. I love this format. I love this fucking tournament. I guess maybe you're right. If he's there, maybe I should take him. I'm not in this position very often, so I'm hoping it's out of my hands. Yeah, thanks, Peppertoni. Fuck. Boston goes. Thank the Lord. Do I take Ayuk? Do I really take Ayuk? Shit. Nah, I think I go Trey Harris. Yeah. Fuck. So many pitfalls. Just don't take the bad click. Even at ADP discount, don't take the bad click. Boy. A little nerve-wracking. But Got the perfect answer to calm my nerves. We're going a little smoke break now to celebrate this fun team. All right. I'm so okay, thank God Rodgers got taken. I almost took Rodgers. Fuck, really? You're gonna let Ayuk circle back? Fuck you. Oh shit. I mean, it's so late. Come on, Megatron, save me from myself. You only have 4 receivers. Save me from myself. He goes AD Mitchell. But thank you, Peppertoni. We got the stacking partner in Antonio Williams. We're going Washington Commander with Jaden Daniels. And Ayuk goes to just in time at 187. Be my guest. Be my guest. Aiden says, my 83-year-old grandmother will cook a second cornerback on a post route before Ayuk touches the field again. I'm glad we made you proud, Aiden. We passed on Ayuk 3 times there. For Debo, Trey Harris, and Antonio Williams. I'm not taking Ayuk in this tournament. Even with 9 wideouts. Not today. But we're coming down the stretch here. And I still feel like I need to thread the needle with who I'm drafting at receiver. Terry, Sutton, Johnston, Concepcion, Debo, Trey Harris, and Antonio. Honestly, Cortland Sutton is saving my ass. I revoke my pessimism on the Cortland Sutton auto click. I got fucking saved with Sutton, in all honesty. Because if you told me I auto clicked like Jackson Dart instead, I think I would hate this team. But it gave us the luxury not to pass on Kincaid at a big fall. Sutton is really actually helping me a lot. Okay, I apologize to Sutton. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. 2 rounds left. Antonio Williams, a dog. Now you just got to get Katron to fall. Katron is still on the board, but I don't know if I'm taking that 5th running back. I don't know if I'm doing that. Aiden wants me to go Brandon Thompson round 20. Feels a little overkill, not gonna lie. Katron is here. I'm gonna go Ted Hurst though. I hear what you're saying, but round 20 is so hard to like decipher in terms of receivers when like someone like Ted Hurst is off the board. I just want to lock up the rookie that gives me some confidence. Like, it's so early in the offseason. I really don't know what is correct in round 18 yet. Round 18 is really hard to decipher. So if you're telling me I get a really good value on my 5th running back, I'm a little more inclined. Maybe 199 is so valuable for you already that Katron should have been the click. But now I at least have the choice, you know? Like, am I taking the 9th wideout with the group I have? Or am I going Katron Allen if he's there? What do y'all think? Brennan Thompson or Katron Allen? I'm also not convinced I'm going Katron either. I do like Chris Bell a lot. I still have a soft spot for Torrey Horton. I think Skylar Bell, just because he's in Buffalo, is interesting. We mentioned Thompson. I think Chimera DK is more valuable than Calvin Ridley. I love Tyquan Thornton here. Pepper Tony wants Chris Bell. Chris Bell. Aiden likes it. We'll see what's available. But some of the risk in my receiver room here, I think is it's worth having the 9th, I think. Brazel goes. So what does Megatron leave me? Goes Torrey Horton. I think we're going Chris Bell. Pepper Tony. No, I'm not taking Slayton, my man. Noel, I used to take, but not as much anymore. I'm not taking Betch. Y'all like Chris Bell. I think we're going Chris Bell. Yeah, this is a really, really exciting team. Super fun. And we started 4 straight running backs. We didn't take a single other one. We are hyper fragile in the Frenchie. And feels pretty good. Taylor, Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Travion Henderson are my RBs. Jaden Daniels stacked up with Terry and Antonio Williams is my stack in Washington. I've got Justin Herbert stacked up with Quentin Johnston, Oronde Gadsden, and Trey Harris. We auto-clicked Cortland Sutton at 90, but honestly saved my fucking ass. If I got Michael Wilson instead, I would have been fucking screwed. But Sutton, I think, is actually a gift in hindsight. Like the floor of Sutton. I think so, man. Yeah, I think so. Damn. Thank you for Cortland Sutton. I retract all previous statements saying I was upset. But QJ at 103, Gadsden for the double stack. Goddard, I think one of my favorite clicks in the 11th. Such a good click. We got Kincaid at 151. Concepcion at 138. Deebo Samuel, Trey Harris, Antonio Williams, Ted Hurst, and Chris Bell. Fuck yeah. I love this team. I'm so happy we commit to the 4 RB approach. Out of the pick 7, I think really got some good fun combos, and like this makes me excited. I'm so glad I don't have Achan on this team too. I'm so glad I don't have Achan. That would be like really disappointing. Sweet. I like this team a lot. The 2-4-9-3 in the Frenchie. I think a 1 of 1. I don't think there's going to be many teams like mine that can be replicated. Yeah, so boring, but ultimately a full round discount, probably worth it. HN is 5th in Mike Clay's projections. Take it for what... look, I respect Mike Clay. I appreciate the grind and hustle to have all this data, but ultimately, I say this so often in the regular season when I'm doing ranks. The projections don't mean shit, man. The projections do not mean shit. Yes, Who Hames. Everything's will be unique, but like, I think I got a 1 of 1. I'm hopeful I got a 1 of 1. Anyways, we'll see what happens. I think I got a dip. It's been fun. It's been real. We did have Sanka in this draft though. Let me take a look at Sanka's team. I'm a little too caught up with mine. Let's take a look at Sanka. Bo Nix, Jordan Love, and Tua. Pretty solid. Jahmyr Gibbs, Ramondre, Rashad. Keaton, Bigsby, Ray Davis. So some of the pressure at running back was felt. But when you have Gibbs, you're in great shape. Rashad should deliver where you took him. London, Nico, Waddle. Tyson, Wandale, Naylor, and Tank Dell. Pretty nice. Love the Waddle combo. Wandale as the 5th is pretty solid. Tyson is great. And then the top 2 are elite. Loveton and Likely, really high upside. Like that you stopped at 2. Good running back combos, like justifiably pulled up Jordan Love. You did not stack him with anyone though. That's kind of unfortunate. You passed on Matthew Golden for Wandale. I get it, but I think I might have just taken Matthew Golden. It's not that big of a deal though. It's really not. Wandale's much safer than Golden is. All right, that's fun. I don't think we were drafting with anybody else though. Yeah, that's fair. I think the value you got on Wandale is worth it. No complaints. 5 rounds between him and Waddle, and Sutton still has the red zone roll. I mean, come on. Is it 5 rounds? Round 4 versus round 8. It's a little less than 4 rounds, but I hear what you're saying. But the Broncos spent a first round pick on Waddle, and Sutton is over 30 years old. You know, he's so boring. More for you, my man. More for you. Sanka really likes Waddle. Waddle could crush. Waddle could also be as good as like Tyson, who you took 2 rounds later. But Waddle, I haven't pinned down my opinion on Waddle. Not gonna lie. Anyways, it's after 7:30. I think I'm gonna dip. Thank y'all for joining me. This one was fun, and then this Frenchie I think was really, really fun. I'm glad I vetoed it. We did not hit the like goal. I wanted 30 likes, but you could be like 30 right now, and all is fair in the world. So drop a like on your way out if you haven't done so already. Would really appreciate that, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. GG's. See you later. Peace out. Bye bye.